Conveniently settled in the hills of the historic Cumberland Gap area of southeastern Kentucky lies the small city of Barbourville. Located just 33 miles north of the Cumberland Gap, Barbourville was referred to as the town on the Big Bend of the Cumberland River by early settlers. Barbourville is the home of many historic locations important to the history of Kentucky.
When we think about our region, a lot of times we're portrayed in the media as a poverty-ridden area, and Barbourville and Knox County are old. Everybody claims age, but Barbourville is the oldest town in the mountains of Kentucky. And being that, and being just a short distance from Cumberland Gap, early Kentucky history was made right here. From the beginning of this area all the way to today, we make news through our history.
In 1750, Thomas Walker, a distinguished physician and explorer from Virginia, selected a site about 6 miles southeast of the present-day Barbourville, where he built the first European settler's house in Kentucky. Today, in its place, stands a replica of the cabin constructed by the explorer on a 12-acre tract of land, which serves as a state recreational park. Currently, the Dr. Thomas Walker State Historical Site offers educational tours and houses basketball courts, horseshoe pits, miniature golf, a gift shop, and picnic tables, making the area perfect for a family outing and educational experience. Just outside the city limits of Barbourville lies the community of Flat Lick. This area earned its name from the salty rock of its terrain, which drew wild game to the area. Migrating buffalo made their way through the mountains to graze the fields of Flat Lick, consequently creating the trails known as Warrior's Path, Boone Trace, and the Wilderness Road. These three trails, which intersected in Flat Lick, were traveled by the Shawnee and Cherokee Indians and Daniel Boone, who were in pursuit of the wild animals. Thus, Flat Lick serves as the heart of American history. Daniel Boone, an American pioneer, is the most famous for his explorations and settlement of what is now known as Kentucky, and opening the gateway for Western expansion. Barbourville recently erected a statue in his honor.
Daniel Boone came through here in 1775 and blazed the trail from Cumberland Gap to Boonesboro, and he made markings on trees, and that allowed people to have a straight shot and not get lost to get to Boonesboro. Hopefully they wouldn't get killed by the Indians or bears or anything on their way, and sometimes that did happen, but there was at least a trail blazed through here called the Boone Trace.
Hi, I'm Andrew Johnston, and I'm here with Mr. Valentine, and I'll let him introduce himself.
I'm Steve Valentine, Vice President of the Knox Historical Museum.
Mr. Valentine, can you explain the origins of the Daniel Boone Festival and its significance to this area?
Well, I'll do the best I can. It was started in 1948 by Dr. Carl Bilal at Union College, him and his senior class. And it was started to teach the people and the kids education about the history of Barbourville, about the pioneers and how it was discovered and so forth. So it was started as an educational deal in 1948. And Dr. Carl Bilal, who started it, contacted the Cherokee Indians. We wanted the Indians to be here as part of the Daniel Boone Festival because of the involvement with the Indians over the years. He found out that the Indians needed cane to make their baskets in Cherokee, North Carolina. So he made a deal with two of the chiefs at that time to start coming to Barbourville once a year for the Daniel Boone Festival and to sign a treaty with us called the Cane Treaty every year for them to come to Barbourville, Knox County, and cut cane on the river to make their baskets out of.
Union College's participation in the creation of the Daniel Boone Festival is not its only redeeming quality. Union was founded in 1879, making it the oldest college in the mountains. Union College and Barbourville have a long-standing relationship which dates back to its founding. Union was established to create opportunities for the community and their families, while helping the region thrive and prosper. Union still honors that pact today, as its student body represents 23 states and over 9 countries, along with working alongside the city of Barbourville.
We're good to go.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So I just have a few questions for you about Union and the city of Barbourville. Question number 1. How does Union and the City of Barbourville work together to improve this community?
Mm. Well, we've had a long history of working together, sometimes better than other times. I think right now we're in a really good position working together on developing new interests for the community, maybe for the, in conjunction with the college. We have established a position that is a special assistant to the president for external relations, and that person also serves as the Barbourville Director of Tourism. So her name is Denise Wainscott, and the idea is that anything that's good for Barbourville tourism and to bring interest to Barbourville is also good for the college. So that's how we're working currently to develop those interests.
Oh, that's really great to hear that you guys are working together to make this place a better place to live. Second question, final question. How does Union affect the development of Barbourville throughout history? How has it affected the development of this town?
Well, initially it affected the development by enabling students, children of the settlers and people in this area to go to school locally and to go to school at all, because there was a time when they had to, they were going to get an education, even a primary school, K through 12 kind of education, they had to go away. And so the citizens of Barbourville really felt strongly that they needed an educational institution in this community, and that's how Union College came about. They started with a normal school, which is the early grades, and then that went off into a separate entity, as you know, and we ended up being a college. And we currently are the I guess the third largest employer in this area. We currently still educate 80% Kentucky students, and the majority of that 80% comes from this region. You can't throw a rock anywhere and not hit a teacher that we've educated in this community. So I think, and with our new social work program and nursing program, we continue to educate individuals who go back into the community and do good work.
Oh, that's really interesting. It's really fascinating. Thank you for your time. Thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you for asking.
In an attempt to foster the relationship between Union and the community of Barbourville, the college has taken over the annual Redbud Festival.
Well, the Redbud Festival is truly a celebration of Appalachian culture. It's an event that celebrates the work of artisans and crafters. It also recognizes current challenges that are facing the region in terms of the fact that we're hosting a symposium on regional economic development and the importance of history and place this year. So it spans a very broad time frame. It reminds people of the importance of traditional activities, and one example of that is the Heritage Living section that we have as a component of this festival, which shows us ways that people would have subsisted in the past, but continue those practices even today. And it's also important to us in the sense that it can be significant in terms of economic development. It's people to the region, it brings people to our campus, and it provides, again, artisan crafters, different vendors, musicians, and other individuals the opportunity to earn income. So it's significant for that reason as well. The best way to look at this is to think of it as a partnership between the community and the college. A festival sort of emerged from a very grassroots community effort, and so we're just partnering to help it grow and expand.
In the same fashion as the festival, the Knox County Historical Museum displays an extensive amount of culturally relevant artifacts. The museum prides itself on only collecting artifacts from the surrounding areas.
Hi, I'm Andrew Johnston, and I'm here with Mr. Mills, and we are in the old Barbourville room at the Historical Museum in Barbourville, and we are actually sitting in seats from the original Magic Theater.
We're trying to picture Barbourville's history. For example, I mentioned the Civil War battle. We have a room designated just for wars that Knox Countyans and Barbourvillians have fought in. We have a case that has Civil War materials. A lot of these things are hard to come by. Recently, a lot of people have been donating, long rifles and things of the pioneer period. So when we do a tour of the museum, one of the first rooms we go in pertains to Dr. Thomas Walker in the building of the first house in Kentucky, just about 5 miles from here. And we talk about the pioneer days of this area and Daniel Boone. And we have extensive arrowhead collections and things that have been collected in this area pertaining to our pioneer era. And then we step from that room into this room, which we have things pertaining to Barbourville history itself. And we have the wheels from the last car. We have photos that depict it on the streets. Other things in the room, we have the early history of our large buildings uptown, our hotels, and we have a medical case with memorabilia from the doctors in the past. Some of us remember, and some of them predate our time. We have bottles from bottling plants, medicine bottles with Barbourville cut in the glass. We have memorabilia from John A. Black's bank, which was an early bank in Kentucky. You won't find many banks with its currency that has Barbourville, Kentucky right on the money. But we do have pictures, and as you say, we're seated in the seats right out of the old Magic Theater. The future of our area, as coal dries up and all of the sources of income dry up, what's left for us to be proud of is our history and our heritage. And if you go back to the beginning, the original Wilderness Road and Boone Trace come right through this area and right through this town, the Wilderness Road. That, of course, brought Daniel Boone and the early settlers. When you go back to the 1840s, most of the political brain thrust of southeast Kentucky originated here. It's the home of 2 Kentucky governors, the home of 1 governor of Missouri who put the bounty on Jesse James. We're home of 1 Supreme Court justice appointed by Lincoln. And you can go on and on talking about people and personalities from here. And then events that happened here by the Civil War. We now know that the first battle in the Civil War on Kentucky soil where lives were lost were right here, just a short distance from this building. And you just start building and you go right on up. After the railroad came in the 1880s, the town was projected to grow into more of a, quote, boom town situation for its day. And then, of course, that didn't materialize. And so now, as we talk to our young people and we talk about our area, especially the way times look right now with the economy and all, what we really have is a treasure in history right here.
In the words of Mr. Mike Mills, when everything runs out, Barbourville will always have its heritage to fall back on. A heritage that is significant to the history and the state of Kentucky. A heritage unlike any other.